I'm in the Indian Queen's area of North Cornwall. There are plenty of stories explaining who the Indian Queen was, but none are conclusive. But whoever she was, she gave her name to the local coach house. The name of the pub changed over the years and the building was demolished in the 1960s, but the pub's name plaque still exists today. The village has other heritage too.
In days gone by, Indian Queens was well known for one thing and one thing alone: traffic jams. This was one of the major routes in and out of Cornwall. Until the bypass, the A30 as it is now, was built, this would be literally bumper to bumper during the summer months. Nowadays, it's quiet, but it still has those great transport links. So, that's good news, and this is what I'm here to see. 3/4 bedroom semi-detached, had a guide price of 110,000 quid. Let's take a look.
Well, so much for the Queen of Indians. Let's hope this house hasn't been visited by the King of Cowboys.
So, the question is, are you getting more than a teepee for your money? Well, I think probably so. Interesting coloured paint for the hallway, but stairs up to the bedrooms there, and then through into your lounge. And a big space here. Nice to have the open fire. You definitely want to make sure you've got good double glazing on that side, because that road is still quite busy. But it's a good sized space. Clearly needs a bit of sorting out, but it's looking good. Through to the kitchen, and clearly this is an extension to the original property, and it's a good sized space, a sort of kitchen, family living area, so we like that. Obviously all the units need to go, but you've got space to work with. However, community properties that have been extended should set a few alarm bells ringing, and when I see a construction like this, clearly a structural part of the property, this is some kind of supporting beam here. When I see another one going this way, which is sort of joined on without going that way as well, it just starts to worry me a bit. Now, it's probably absolutely fine, but I'd want to take off whatever this stuff is on the surface here and just see that that has been actually properly done underneath, because if that hasn't been properly done, whatever is above us could be coming down to join us quite quickly. You can never be too careful with things like this. It might be perfectly safe, but if it doesn't meet building regulations, you may struggle to get a mortgage on the house. Then you could end up with a property you can't sell. That would be a shame, because with the amount of space and light, the vibe down here is pretty good. So, top of the stairs, probably where it should be, the bathroom. Good size, I have to say, a nice big corner bath there. However, that concerns me somewhat, because that is actually situated right above the kitchen, where that, not necessarily, but possibly, slightly dodgy bit of construction and support was. Now, with an average bath holding around 225 litres of water, and an average litre of water weighing 1 kilogram, that's 225 kilograms of water. Adding the weight of a person, about 80 kilograms, that's like 300 kilograms of water there, waiting, poised. Whew. Definitely get the structural engineer to check that beam out. But what have we got apart from that? Reasonable sized bedroom there, reasonable sized double bedroom there, small box room there, and then a spiral staircase leading up to the stroke fourth bedroom. The reason they say stroke fourth is because really you can't class that as a bedroom unless this has passed building regulations, and judging by this and what I can see by glancing up there, I don't think it has.
That's unfortunate, because it's not a bad space, but at worst it could be used as a great storage area. But there are 3 bedrooms here, so it's not short on rooms. Certainly in terms of size, it could still appeal to a family. However, the outside space is perhaps less appealing.
Well, at the rear of the property, lots and lots of space, but also lots and lots and lots of concrete. And this stuff can actually be a bit of a nightmare to get rid of. So take my advice. Hire yourself a mini digger for the weekend, scrape it up into a few skips, and job done. But also at the back here, there's this huge, great, well, I don't know where it is, to be honest, garage or something? Oh, wow, look at this. Fantastic. It's a huge, great, I don't know, workshop, I suppose. I mean, imagine if you're into your classic cars or your motorbikes, or just wanted a bit of space for something like gym equipment. Great thing to have. Quite surprising. You could even run a business from here, I suppose, subject to the local planning permission, of course. But actually, a great bonus. Fantastic.
It It may be all concrete and steel on the outside, but I'm rather worried about the strength of some of the inside. What does the local estate agent feel about what's on offer here?
Needs some work, definitely, but they're the kind of things that people like to buy now because money's very, very tight, so everything's got to come out of one budget, which means they can put their own stamp on it. I think it's definitely saleable. I think there'd be quite a few different groups that would be interested in this property.
The property may attract purchasers, but is the workshop in the garden a positive or a negative?
It's taking a huge chunk of the garden and taking into account the size that it is at the moment. Internally, you can see that originally it was a big double garage stroke workshop anyway. I would maybe recommend that it was taken back to its original length. They're giving you sort of a more usable space with the garden.
So perhaps the outside area needs some work. But could this auction lot that was guided at just $110,000 be a sound investment?
The resale of this property once finished would be in the region of £150,000. The rental valuation on this property once finished would be in the region of £650 to £695 per calendar month.
Well, this house in Indian Queens certainly offers a lot of property for the money. Work to be done, but I think there's also money to be made, as long as whoever bought it doesn't get the cowboy builders in. Let's see who that was when it went to the auction.
We now move to lot 12. May I say £80,000? £80,000, £80,000 I'm bid. Is there 85 anywhere? 85 I'm bid. May I say £90,000? 90 I'm bid. 95 I'm bid. And 100 I'm bid. 105 I'm bid. Or what if it helps? 106? 106 I'm bid. And 107. 107 I'm bid. And 108. 108, sir? 108 I'm bid. 109? 109 I'm bid. And 110. 110 I'm a bid. And 111. 111 is it? And £110,000 right in the front row here. May I say 111? 111 at £110,000 in the front row for the first time, at £110,000 for the second time, at £110,000 in selling for the third and last time. Congratulations, yours, sir.
For $110,000, the successful bidder was local man Martin. He works as an area manager for a dental company and does property developing as a sideline. If you think his face is familiar, it is. Martin was on the programme quite recently.
Martin, good to meet you again.
Thank you.
No, it wasn't that long ago when we met you before.
Absolutely.
Couple of months?
Yeah, I finished one project, went to an auction, and this one come up, so away I went.
Straight on.
Now he's on to this one.
Tell me why you wanted to buy this place.
Well, I actually went to buy another property at the auction. However, this came up prior and went for such a good price that I couldn't let it go by.
Right, so it was literally the price. Had you seen it beforehand?
Yeah, I'd done my research. I'd looked online, and then I'd come and have a look through the windows. I hadn't actually been through the front door.
Oh, wow.
But I could see where it was, and I could see the kind of work that needed to be done. When it went for such a good price at auction, I thought, whatever happens, and no matter what I found inside, there was a worthwhile amount of money to be made.
So Martin's taken a small gamble here, but he knows the local market, and whether he rents or sells, he's confident this'll be a money spinner once refurbished.
So tell me exactly what you're going to do to the house itself to sort it out.
OK, inside it's a top-to-bottom refurbishment, so basically I'll be changing the doors, taking out the carpet, and I'll basically shell the property, refresh the bathroom, and redo the kitchen.
And what about in the kitchen here? Because I was a little bit concerned about, not necessarily it's a problem, but I'd like it to be investigated, this construction on the roof holding up what basically is the bathroom upstairs.
I've had a look at it and the construction of it. I'm quite convinced that it's all good.
Now, what about the sort of fourth bedroom? It really can't be called a fourth bedroom, can it? Because it's got the spiral staircase going up to it. It doesn't really meet planning regulations. What are you going to do with that?
I think I'll leave it as it is. I think it'll make a really good sort of playroom. I certainly won't be taking the stairs away. I think it's a useful addition. It adds value rather than just putting a loft hatch over it. So.
Martin plans a pretty modest refurbishment here, reflected in his budget of £4,000 to £5,000. Timescale-wise, he hopes to turn it around in just a couple of months. That will be pretty good going with his full-time dental job as well.
What about outside then? Because that is a real surprise, isn't it?
Exactly. The building outside could lend itself to a number of uses. It was actually used as a coach refitting business some years ago, so they've got planning permission to use it for sort of commercial use. Personally, what I'll do with it is present it in a good state so that people can see what they've got there, and obviously, you know, then it maximises the opportunities and potential.
So the garage cum workshop could be a real bonus for Martin, and there's certainly plenty of work to sink his teeth into here.
So, lots of options for Martin with this place, but just £4,000 to sort it out? Sounds a bit tight to me, especially if it turns out that there is structural work required. You can find out how he gets on later in the show.
Earlier we were in the village of Indian Queens in Cornwall, where we met Martin. He's an area manager for a dental company who bought this 3 or 4 bedroom detached house for $110,000. Martin was on the show before when he refurbished a property in nearby Par and was well prepared to take this place on. As much of the work was superficial and as there was a huge garage in the garden ripe with possibilities, he knew he'd got himself a bargain here.
When it went for such a good price at auction, I thought whatever happens, and no matter what I found inside, there was a worthwhile amount of money to be made.
Armed with a budget of just $4,000 to $5,000, Martin had plans to refurbish the house in just a couple of months and get it onto the rental market. But it was 9 months later when we returned. From the outside, a fresh lick of paint on the walls and a tidy up in the garden makes the frontage more appealing. And inside? Well, the living room has been stripped bare and it's obvious there's still a lot to do here. But the kitchen? Martin has decked this out with new units, new tiling, new everything. Well, nearly everything.
The kitchen was quite dated and old, had dark units, linoed floor. Over here we had the arched recess with the heron window. I decided not to keep that, although it let light into the front room. I didn't think it was in keeping with the rest of the property. I managed to retain the original sink, because I feel it's good quality. It went really well with the rest of the units and the worktops, and tiled the floor and flashbacks. I think the end result's really good.
Martin installed the kitchen himself and seems to have done a grand job. He also did the changes upstairs, decorating the 3 bedrooms, recarpeting and adding a new door. He applied the same style of makeover to the loft. And the bathroom? Well, that hasn't been replaced, but it's been updated with new flooring and a new sink and shower. All achieved with Martin's DIY skills. So was he able to do anything with the garage at the back?
I think the garage is a real positive for this property. Although it didn't look very appealing when I bought the property, having replaced the industrial-looking metal doors with a modern roller shutter, I think I've turned something that was quite unappealing into a real asset to the property. Certainly, when I come to sell, I think this is a real selling feature and will appeal to a lot of buyers.
Any future owner who is into car restoration or perhaps wants to run a small business from here would go crazy for the sort of space offered. So this large garage certainly does have the potential to put the pounds onto any resale price. And with the garden tidied up, it all ends up being a solid transformation from that tired house that Martin bought. Getting to this fresh look should have been straightforward though, shouldn't it?
If you look at a room and think, I can paint that in a day, time you take off the wallpaper, then replaster the bits that are falling off, and then notice that there's a door frames that had woodworm in, and you factor that in, it's going to take a day to replace as well. That bedroom that's going to take you a day could end up taking you a week. Obviously, throughout the house, if you look at those little issues, they all add up, and that's where the time goes and that's where the money goes.
In any renovation, discovering woodworm would open up a can of, well, worms. But the message here is, as always, allow some leeway for unexpected hold-ups. As it is, Martin now plans to live here. He had aimed to finish the project in 2 months, but a mini disaster where sewage leaked into the kitchen created a stink with the schedule. And that wasn't the only hold-up.
Well, it's been a bit busy sort of 8 months. I was hoping to get the work done a lot quicker. However, work commitments meant I was working in South Wales a lot of the time, so a lot of weeks nothing got done. So things kind of dragged on.
It looks as though there are still a few more weeks left to get this place across the finishing line. But as he's run so far over schedule, how did Martin's budget hold up?
My original budget was 4,000, with some problems I had with regards to losing items due to sort of flood damage. It's gone up to 6,000 now.
Add that to his purchase price of 110,000 and Martin's total outlay here is 116,000. Time to ask 2 local estate agents what they think of his investment.
I like it very much. I think the finish that he's done, there's a little bit to do yet, but what's been done so far is very good. I like the flooring, I like the colour schemes that he's chosen, and I like how he's sort of concentrated on the garage as well, as it's a very good selling point.
It's got a lot of potential. Obviously, still not quite finished. Upstairs, the work I've seen, I've been very impressed with, done to a very high standard.
Martin's current plans are to stay put for a few months and make this his new home, although he does aim to sell eventually. Having spent £116,000 here, what could he expect to achieve on a resale?
I would market it for £165,000 to achieve in the region of £155,000.
I would look at putting it on the market between £160,000 and £165,000.
They're really positive figures. Taking into account what I paid for the property and the money I've spent, there should be quite a good return on my effort.
You're right there, Martin. If those sale prices could be achieved, he could make a possible £39,000 to £49,000 profit, minus the usual taxes and expenses. And with a potential rental income of £750 per calendar month, he could make a healthy annual yield of just under 8%. While this renovation may have taken its time, this house could still offer some healthy returns in the future for Martin. Now he's getting the knack of this developing game, he has a clear philosophy on getting the job done.
When things go wrong, just keep your eyes on your prize, and when things do go wrong, keep calm and carry on.